The lottery code words for Saturday, November 28th, 2009 are vector, betrays, abscond. 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 Vector, betrays, abscond.
Okay, so the words. No, let's start with the films that we focused on in this target. The Road. The Road was, oh my gosh, so grim, so grim. It is the reality of what would happen with when the Yellowstone caldera erupts. And notice I say when the Yellowstone caldera erupts, not if the Yellowstone caldera erupts. Yeah, not the action-packed excitement of the movie 2012, but rather the just harsh, grim reality of trying to survive another ice age and being pursued by hordes of marauding cannibals while you're at it. Yeah, that was a really grim but worthwhile movie. And then there was Bad Lieutenant. Bad Lieutenant, which was just hard to describe. It was kind of like Nicolas Cage was playing Inspector Clouseau on crack. Would be the best way to describe it, because no matter what outrageous antics he engages in, he always manages to come out on top, get the bad guys, and get himself a promotion, despite the fact that he's broken every imaginable rule there could be. So that was a really strange, fun movie to watch. And then Old Dogs. Old Dogs. Boy, what a waste of time that was. The only thing marginally interesting about Old Dogs, this is kind of the new Disney where potty humor is considered acceptable. And the one thing that was redeeming about it was the fact that we had basically John Travolta performing with most of his family, his wife Kelly Preston and his little daughter Ella Blue Travolta. But that happened to be around the time that their son died, so probably wasn't a very happy experience for them making that movie. Probably the only redeeming thing was the bug-eyed Japanese businessman. Had to put that in there. Old Dogs. Yep, that was Old Dogs. Dogs. Well, this isn't a dog. Clearly, this is a fox. Yes. The Fantastic Mr. Fox. That was really the saving grace of this weekend was Fantastic Mr. Fox. George Clooney. We've had a cluster cuss of George Clooney movies lately. First there was Men Who Stare at Goats, and then The Fantastic Mr. Fox, and next week Up in the Air, which I've actually already seen, and it's one of the best movies of the year, but we won't discuss that now because that's for next week. Next week's movies, incidentally, will be Up in the Air and Armored. What were the other ones? There were so many. Big opening next week. Anyway, let's discuss that later. Let's focus on these code words that came up for Fantastic Mr. Fox. Vector betrays abscond. Well, that's interesting. And what's really interesting is that in one way or another you can connect all of these three words to Fantastic Mr. Fox. First thing you need to know, in case you're not familiar with public health terminology, is that rats, common house rats, roof rats, are referred to as vectors. Vectors as in carriers of disease. So isn't that interesting that in a movie in which a rat figures prominently in the plot, we have the word vector coming up. And the vector, or rat in this case, does indeed betray our hero, the Fantastic Mr. Fox. The rat is in the service of mean old Farmer Bean. There's mean old Farmer Bean right there. And he actually serves as Farmer Bean's security. So he makes sure that Fantastic Mr. Fox and all of his little animal friends, there's Fantastic Mr. Fox in his den with his family, and there we have Fantastic Mr. Fox's son Ash and his nephew Christopherson wearing bandit masks because they're planning to steal something from Farmer Bean. And there's good old Mr. Badger, who is voiced by Bill Murray, and it's kind of funny. This is not the first movie in which Bill Murray has played a character who lives underground. If anyone has seen City of Ember, you'll know that Bill Murray was living underground in City of Ember, and meets a rather horrific fate there. But anyway, here we are. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Vector betrays absconds. Oh yes, abscond. What happens is when Mr. Fox gets in trouble with the farmers, there's Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, the three farmers who are after the fox. Mr. Fox and his family are forced to abscond to lower realms. And of course, there's a lot of absconding in the movie Fantastic Mr. Fox, because he's absconding with chickens and squabs and various other poultry during the course of the movie. So, very appropriate, these words that came up. Vector betrays abscond. And interesting that we have 4 movies here that we're focused on, and yet only the one, the really good one, is the one that seems to have influenced the lottery results. Now,